Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the StarrCast Podcast, where we speak to wellness warriors in all over the world. I have a very interesting guest today and a great topic. We know that it's so important in wellness that how we eat, right? I mean, we know this. We've heard more about it in the last few years than we ever did. Although it's still rare that you go to the doctor and they ask you about your diet, but we're working on that in Western medicine. Spas know and wellness centers that eating properly helps fuel the body and everything else goes well after that. So I thought it would be really interesting to dive into this topic with someone I met on a bus in Saudi Arabia, strangely enough. Let me introduce Myriam Giri. Welcome, Myriam.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks a lot for inviting me to your podcast. And yes, that was a very interesting meeting in Saudi Arabia. Unexpected, but as I think, great spirits encounter. So yeah,
right. It was our karma that night. We had good karma to meet. I had to sit down on a bus. There was an empty seat and there was Myriam. Lovely. We started chatting. It turns out that Myriam is an entrepreneur. She's a health and wellness consultant and she is a culinary innovator. Nutrition is her passion. And so she agreed to join us today and talk about her journey. But I will say that Myriam, when you look her up on LinkedIn, you will see that her beginning was in banking and finance. So Myriam, can you take us back a little bit to your early days of your career and what you were doing?
For sure. Well, first, I was born in Lyon, a south city in France. Yes, I have a master in corporate finance. I've worked in investment banking in London. Then I did 3 years of merger and acquisition finance at Deloitte. So yeah, I mean, I've worked 4 to 5 years in corporate finance with very hard schedule. And I mean, it was, to be honest, it was a real learning experience, which actually allowed me today to found my own brand and manage it from scratch. So yeah, I don't have any background in food and nutrition, but I guess your question is how did I...
Why got such a jump to go from corporate finance to say, I think I'll go into nutrition? You know, what made you make that decision?
Well, to be honest, I've been suffering from IBS, so intestinal bowel syndrome, since I was 18.
Wow.
And when I started my superior studies, I was like, okay, I don't want to take medicine. I want to heal myself and find natural solution. So I started to cook in my very small student kitchen. I experimented gluten-free, plant-based, keto, paleo recipes. So it was 10 years ago from now. And so food and nutrition has been my passion, like during all my career. And
what happened with your illness?
Yeah, well, I'm still suffering from IBS, but I actually managed to reverse the majority of my symptoms through my lifestyle.
Wow, yes. That's amazing. How long did it take for the change in diet to affect your health?
Well, it took approximately 4 to 5 years, to be honest. Yes, because you have to manage your stress. You have to actually implement a discipline, a very physical routine. You have to eat healthy at least, I'd say 80% of the time. Because when you have like a very weak gut, you really need to heal your gut through your proper nutrition. But you also have to manage your stress and your sleep. It's a whole package, you know. And I mean, educating myself through this really motivated me to educate people today about it.
So you changed your diet. You saw that you improved your body. You had better quality of life, I'm sure. Were you on medication that you were able to stop?
To be honest, I've never done medication before. Like it was not even an option for me.
Right. You're like, no, I'm not doing that. Good. Well, good for you. I mean, what was it something in your upbringing that made you turn to food as a way to heal yourself?
So yes, the thing is, while I was working in finance, it was like just before COVID, I did a burnout actually. With the most recent company I've worked for, I was doing merger and acquisition mission for this company, and when it actually touches my health, I don't ask any question. Like I just stop. So I was like, you know what, Myriam, you are passionate about food nutrition for at least 8 years, and I always thought that it would be so amazing to create clean products in France, which do not exist yet. So in March 2020, I've started to experiment recipes and products in a laboratory. And I came out with 5 products that I just created from scratch, from the research and development to the packaging design, recipe development, sourcing, marketing communication. So I founded HolyBlends in March 2020, which is today a startup in France offering the cleanest products. Why the cleanest products? Because they're adapted to all diets, whether you are plant-based or gluten-free or suffering from IBS, hormonal imbalances, or you are keto. My products suit you. Yes.
That's amazing. What were the first 5 products that you came up with?
Well, 3 nut butters. One is called golden butter. So it's like a golden latte that you can spread. It's made of cashews, coconut, and anti-inflammatory spices such as turmeric, cinnamon, ginger. The second is magic chai. It's like a chai latte that you can spread. Also, there is 0 sugar, 0 oil added. It's just like super powerful spices and adaptogens. And the last one is inspired from my Moroccan origin, is argan elixir. It's a nut butter with almond, argan oil, and a mesquite powder. So all 3 are sugar-free.
They sound delicious.
Yes, they are really. And the 2 other products are granolas that are grain-free, so they are keto. I don't use any grains, so it's made of almonds, pecans, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, lots of nutrients.
And how long did it take you to develop those products?
It took me approximately 4 to 6 months regarding the development of the formulation. Then it took me 2 to 3 months to market them. Yes.
I would think it would take a long time to get food approved to be sold. Was that a difficult process?
Actually, in France, it's easier than in countries such as Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And we entrepreneurs are really helped. We are really backed up. We are supported by counselor within the food and beverage industry who actually advise you on the regulation, the approval. So it actually went fast. And when you are passionate, you just don't sleep much, and you try to get things done very quickly because you want people to try them, and adopt them in their routine.
How did you know how to market them? Like, okay, you have these 5 great products, but you're an unknown in the food and beverage industry. I mean, how did you get the word out about your products?
Well, I spent a lot of time in social media, to be honest. So I just learned by myself to market my product on social media. And my first client came from Instagram. Yes. Because I do a lot of content-based and education posts. So people they learn a lot of things like by following me. And when I just when I came with my products, they're like, okay, we have to try them, and they love them. And now my client base are niche clients, but very loyal clients, because once you actually try them, you can't like change them for other products, because you just want clean labeled products. And yeah.
What is your Instagram handle so people can follow you?
It's HolyBlends.
HolyBlends, HolyBlends.
Totally, yes.
Okay,
that's
good.
My,
so are they sold in markets or online?
Only online, yes. And distributed for now just in Europe. Yeah.
Has the company grown in the way that you hoped that it would?
Well, now I'm actually alone in the company. I had so many opportunities and like consulting requests in Saudi Arabia that I just put my company in pause just last month, actually, to come here in Saudi Arabia and explore opportunities. And yeah, I mean, I'm here to actually just see how I can raise awareness about health and nutrition and help businesses, and maybe go back to my company when I'm ready to go back to France. Yes.
Let's talk about Saudi Arabia. I mean, you were living in Lyon, and what made you decide to pick up and move to a country like Saudi Arabia?
Well, I was first invited in Riyadh last May 2022 to exhibit at the Saudi Food Expo. It's a large food and beverage exhibition within the region. So they actually wanted to support entrepreneurs, and they offered me a booth so that I can actually exhibit all my products. So that was my first time in Saudi Arabia. And I was so surprised about the people getting to ask me so many questions. They were so curious to try the products, and they were asking about the health benefits, about the ingredients. So I was so positively surprised, and I got so many requests regarding product development because like people from the retail industry wanted to create new range of health products, but they didn't know how actually to formulate the products. So they needed some help. So from this moment, I actually got so many requests that I actually needed to go there again and again, because it's hard to do business when you are, I mean, outside of the country.
For sure.
So yeah, so that's why today I'm here to actually support these businesses who wants to pave the way to the future of health. Hopefully.
Do you speak Arabic as well, Myriam?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's good to know that can all be done without speaking the local language. Hey, your English is sure excellent.
It's not excellent. It's not perfect. No, to be honest, I still have a lot of work to do regarding this, but I am really enthusiastic about the idea to learn Arabic. Yeah.
Well, good for you. So you picked up and moved to Riyadh. How did you decide where to live?
Well, when I came here, it was 3 weeks ago. I just reached out to the few people I know here regarding where I should live, and they just gave me some addresses or like apartment contact number, and I just picked the first one who came, to be honest.
So did you have any have you had any challenges navigating in that world, which is different than the world that you used to live in?
Well,
culturally?
Actually, not that much, because I have Moroccan origin. So I mean, I'd say that I know a little bit the Arab culture. So I know how people think and how they do business. People here, I mean, they like to actually meet you first. They like to, I mean, meet you a lot of time before actually doing business. They want to get to know you, to share some coffee or dinner with you. So I like this way of doing business because it actually make you know the person more. I mean, you know, outside of the business scheme. So yeah, I really like how people here share their thoughts. They really introduce you to other people very easily. Yeah, it wasn't difficult for me to adapt, and I have like great adaptation skills. Like I know, like I've been traveling and living abroad for so many years, so I easily adapt to the culture.
Well, good for you, because that's a big plunge to take. You know, there's so much happening there, as we noted when we met at the WTTC event in December. I was my first trip to Saudi Arabia, and I was amazed by it. And it's just not what you expect. And they're so innovative and thinking of the future and the vision. So is that what attracted you to that country as well?
Totally, because I've been in contact with people who actually work in those giga projects, and the vision is clear. They have the biggest intention, and they really work hard to actually execute this vision. And for me, like as a young entrepreneur in the wellness industry, which is today a niche sector in Saudi Arabia, there are so many opportunities. You get to meet high level people, you participate to events, you get introduced by so many people. So for young entrepreneurs such as myself, who look up to great leaders within the industry, I'd say that Saudi Arabia, with all the investments which are done within the healthcare sector, or even the cultural sector or hospitality sector, this is for me just the beginning. Yes. And this is the time when people should come.
So was most of the interest in you and your products from hospitality venues, or from other, was it B2B, or was it more consumer driven?
It's more consumer driven. Yeah, for sure. I had many opportunities to sell my products in some stores and retail companies here. But I mean, it was so complicated in terms of timing, transportation costs, and regulation. I was like, I'm just keeping my products in Europe, which actually work very well there. And I can actually provide this type of products here as a product developer for people.
So tell us what the plan is, Myriam. I mean, how are you going to get Saudi Arabia to eat healthier?
Well, you know, I actually, my approach is it's really education based. So before selling anything or talking about business, I really try to raise awareness through workshops, through hands-on experience, seminars, talk. When I actually tackle subjects such as integrative nutrition, the gut microbiome, sugar cravings, stress through healthy nutrition. So I think first you have to educate people. They have to, I mean, get this knowledge and have this hands-on experience, try to cook themselves like healthy snacks. It has to be easy, accessible, and understandable. Then when you get their attention, it's easier to actually work with them. Yes.
So workshops were the way to start it.
Yes, workshops, like interactive seminars. I mean, it has to be fun and exciting. I mean, I'm not talking about just a PowerPoint slide. It has to be a discussion, you know. It has to be a talk where people interact themselves and actually get in action. You know, they have to. I give them the tools, the tips and tricks that they can implement in their daily lives, which are super easy, and so that they just get this awareness And then maybe, they can try to make the right decision when they go out, or eat with family.
Where do you have the workshops?
Well, usually I partner with some social venues here in Riyadh, because you have many hubs, like social hubs that are hybrid venues where you have co-working spaces, you have like some restaurants, art exhibitions. You have like 3 or 4 here in Riyadh that are actually founded by super cool entrepreneurs. And I just partner with them, and we privatize like a whole evening or a whole day. And this is where I do my workshop.
So have the Saudi population, have they had access to healthy food and clean eating? Is that relatively new in their market?
Well, I'd say that it is new, but still they have access to this clean food like quite everywhere. For example, even in hypermarkets, you have a whole aisle with gluten-free, plant-based, sugar-free products, which most of them are imported from abroad, for sure. But the good news is that there are many artisans, many local people here who created their own food business. Like I know many entrepreneurs who founded like keto brands. They actually manufacture themselves foods such as gluten-free bread, sugar-free cupcakes and brownies. They do super healthy juices. So you can have access to this clean food, not only in supermarkets, but also in cafes, restaurants. And now we have these pop-ups, food trucks that we can see everywhere in events, which are actually managed by local people. So that's great. I mean, this is something that they are pushing, Saudi-made products and local entrepreneurs.
How many people live in Saudi?
That's a great question. Don't ask me this one because I don't know.
I wonder, I hadn't looked either. So, Myriam, what is your vision of the next 2 or 3 years for you and your company?
Well, for now, I really want to develop this wellness experience services, because I think this is something that is missing here, because you have good concept, but these concepts are not comprehensive concept. So I really want to work with businesses to help them activate these venues as social spaces, as holistic health spaces, because sometimes, I mean, the intention is good, but they don't know, which kind of approach, they should take. And I really want to support people in creating niche health products, programming super nice wellness events, getting to create educational based workshops. So yeah, I mean, I see myself supporting businesses in activating venues and hopefully getting to large companies. And also because I also work with companies in corporate wellness programs. So hopefully SMEs, startups, and large companies in Saudi Arabia will in the future be aware of the importance of having healthy employees and actually create for them workshops and private consultations. So I really want to develop this access. Yes.
Well, that will be excellent to develop workplace wellness. I mean, that's something that has been an initiative with the Global Wellness Institute for years, but it's hard going. Companies spend a lot of money on wellness for staff, especially in America, but they're scaling back. I was just reading yesterday in the paper that a lot of the big tech companies are dropping some of the perks that they had for staff that were wellness oriented, like visits to spas or memberships at gyms. So, things are tightening up around the world financially. I mean, how have you been able to start to talk to businesses and do that corporate level relationship building?
Well, I think the secret is actually to offer as a simple.
Myriam, your mic just went crazy. Speak again.
Oh, do you hear me?
Yeah, it's just maybe it's in my head. Let me change my mic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I think that what I suggest to companies is like it's an offer. I'd say I'm not really trying to propose, like suggest high cost offerings sessions, meaning I really try to highlight the human interaction and deliver engaging workshops instead of working on spa memberships or things that can be very costly for the company. So I just propose to intervene once or twice a week through workshop or personalized consultations, which actually can be the more personalized it is, the better. So I'd say that if you actually try to convince the company that it is not as expensive to invest in wellness regarding the I don't know if you get me. I'm trying to make this maybe more clear. Yeah.
Well, the company has to see the ROI on the investment, right?
Yes.
And they have to know that the employees will be more productive and they won't miss work as much. Is that some of the data that you try to use?
Yes, actually, I try to deliver concrete actions through workshops, talks, and private consultations. So, I'm not doing a 4-day seminars where we have to book a place and 4 nights at the hotel. It's just intervening once or twice a week and in a more personalized way if some employees need it, or just through workshop that last 1 or 2 hours. So it's simple, accessible actions which actually allow employees to have this hands-on experience and to be constantly in contact with a health coach. So I think it's very important because people are really looking to be supported every time. Yeah, so just intervening once or twice and not following up with them is not a sustainable solution for the company or the employees. So yeah.
They certainly seem to be a population that wants to be healthier. They see what happens in the rest of the world. There are almost 36 million people living in Saudi, but I think an interesting thing is that a third of them are expats. And I'm wondering if you think that expat population has sort of influenced the Saudis to maybe model their behavior more in a Western healthy way.
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I'd say that most of these expats are actually founders and entrepreneurs in the food and beverage industry. And most of them that I know from my personal experience, they have actually created health cafes and health brands. But I'd say that Saudi people also like to look up to the European or Western people through social media, television, and following the latest trends in terms of food, such as vegan, plant-based, gluten-free. So yes, actually, they are kind of influenced by the expats here through their own businesses, because most of them are the founders of these health cafes and brands, or at least they are partnered, they partner with Saudi people, but they are actually driving the business, or they are influenced through social media, which I think plays a big part, because most of Saudi people are young people, and they are a lot on social media. Yeah.
I think it's funny. I was thinking about one morning when I was there, I had an Uber driver who we started talking about food. I was surprised. Many of them spoke very good English because I don't speak Arabic. So we talked about, he told me about his diet and how he was trying to lose weight and eat healthier and what he used to eat and what he eats now. So I thought it was really cute, that he was trying. Of course, once he dropped me off, he went to have a cigarette. And I said, you are going to have to stop smoking too. But one thing at a time, right? They are a country that, from what I saw, there is a lot of nicotine use.
Yes. Yes, but I mean, they try to eat healthy, but in the same time, they also enjoy themselves in restaurants, like having a burger or pizza. I'd say it's all about balance, but at least they are trying to be curious about it, and that's what actually is really interesting.
Oh, I agree. Guess just getting their curiosity aroused is a good start. So, Myriam, you've mentioned many different types of diets like paleo and keto. And do you think those diets are meant for people to follow long term, or are they just a way to sort of reset your system for a short term?
Yeah, well, for sure, diets are not sustainable on the long term. As a nutritionist, what I suggest, for example, when I work with women, is that I try to implement most of the time the keto diet, but just during 2 or 3 weeks to actually get their metabolism back on track. So, but then they return to a regular and more balanced diet. So I'd say that the keto paleo low sugar diet is a way for people to just reset, as you said, but they are also more targeted towards, for example, women suffering from PCOS or diabetic people, or people who actually suffer from blood sugar imbalances. So for me, diets are not sustainable, for the long term, because you actually deprive your body from nutrients, from calories and vitamins. So it can be a solution for specific syndromes, but for sure on the long term, you actually have to just balance your diet. Yeah.
What's the healthiest way for most people to eat? Like, what approach should we take?
Well, that's a very regular question I get. I just answer that the best diet that actually is good for you is a diet that heals your gut. Mm-hmm. Because I really highlight a lot the gut issue, because the gut is our second brain. The gut is related to our stress level. 70% of our immune system is in your gut. In our gut, sorry. So yeah, I'd say just go towards anti-inflammatory foods. These kind of foods are the best for your gut, and when your gut is happy, you will be healthy.
So that's interesting. If our gut is 70% of our immunity, so if we have a healthy gut, we can better fight off infections.
For sure, yes, for sure. And when you're stressed, your gut is completely imbalanced. The gut is, for me, it controls everything, at least from my experience, Mm-hmm. So I'd say that people should go towards anti-inflammatory foods 80% of the time. And the 20% is like just enjoy yourself and eat the foods that you like. But 80% of the time, try to just avoid inflammatory foods such as gluten, dairy products, red meats, refined sugar, refined oil, processed foods. Yeah.
So keep that to 20%, and the rest should be grains, greens, fruits, lean meats, proteins.
Exactly. Lots of fibers, and these fibers we find them in plants. This is, I say, like, try to eat at least 30 plants per week.
30 plants per week.
Yeah. So don't be like, some people are like, what, 30 plants? But actually, you get the plants from the spices, from the fruits, vegetables, legumes, and you just, realize that you actually get those 30 plants per week very easily. Yeah.
Well, how do I know how my microbiome is doing? Like if I'm just a person, a consumer that's like, I don't know how it is. I mean, is it in good shape or not? I mean, you may know because you have a condition, but if you're just feeling normal, how can you determine whether you need better gut health?
Well, first, you can experience some physical issues such as gas, bloating, some migraines or fatigue. Like you have like physical symptoms that can directly be linked to your gut issues. Some people have skin issues like acne, like all the inflammation that you can get in your body is, most of the times linked to your gut. So it depends how you, which kind of syndromes you have, but it can be just like skin issues, stress issues. If you can have also food intolerances that you can dig in through medical checks. I really advise you to do those. To actually do those intolerance tests is very important if you consider that you have food intolerances. But in general, when you have blood sugar imbalances, skin issues, or bloating, most of them are linked to your gut. Yeah.
How about if you don't have those issues? What if you feel like you're a healthy person and you just want to know, how's my gut feel? Is there a test? Is there a way to find out?
Well, you can actually go to see a gastroenterologist, or just your doctor to do some tests if you wish. But I'd say that like if you don't feel any gut issues and you really want to do like some checkup, you just go to see a professional doctor. Yeah.
I went to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January, and they had a booth where they had an app that you put on your phone, and you hold the phone, like the microphone of the phone, onto your abdomen, and it listens, and then it comes back with some report on your, and you answer a few questions, and it comes back with a report on the health of your microbiome. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if it's true. I mean, I did it, but I don't know what the results were. But if it could be that easy, many more people would probably do it.
For sure. I want to try this thing, really. Yeah, it's part of the new let's say health tech startups, and that's nice. People are really going through these personalized nutrition solutions. Yeah.
Could you speak to us a little bit about what the diet is like in Saudi Arabia typically? I wasn't there long enough to go into the country, and I didn't see a lot of farms or what kind of, animals they eat. What is their diet typically like?
Well, in Saudi Arabia, you have lots of food cultures because of the people who come from all over the region. So I'd say that most of the cuisine and the diet are Middle Eastern diet, meaning it's most of the time rice with meat, like chicken, lamb, or beef, and some vegetables. So it's most of the time meat and rice. And as most of it is like Middle Eastern cuisine, you have lots of starters like hummus, mutaba, like, inspired by Lebanese cuisine or Egyptian. So it's like lots of vegetables as starters, like mezze, etc. But like the main is most of it like cooked meat with rice. Yeah.
Myriam, what do you think is the next diet fad that we're going to see? I mean, is there a kind of way of eating on the horizon that we're about to be introduced to?
Well, I'd say that there is no next diet rise, but I would more speak about personalized nutrition. Most of the people now are getting the fact that traditional medicine, I mean, does not work anymore, and you have to tackle the symptoms of your patient like in a more holistic way. So I'd say that the next trend will be more about personalized nutrition, like plant-based superfoods, mushrooms. Yeah, so that's why I think that wellness, venues or resorts or spas should actually really take a primary role in the nutrition narratives, for sure.
Do you feel that you will be able to make inroads in the Saudi way that they eat just by being there? I see that you speak on a lot of panels and you're very active as a promoter of healthy eating.
Well, I'm a very optimistic person, so I believe that at my scale, I will be able to at least touch a part of the Riyadh population through these workshops. And yeah, I mean, I guess I really want to gather people that are actually working in the wellness industry here in Riyadh, gather them around a table and like a think tank, I really want to create like a group of wellness enthusiasts and actually tackle in our own way this issue of how to educate people around health. So no, to be honest, I think there are so much opportunities, and it's, yeah, I mean, I think I will be able to raise awareness of most of the young people who are actually interested in knowing more about it. Yeah.
How long do you think you'll stay in Saudi?
For now, I don't know. For now, I don't know. Like, I'm just working with some businesses and people. I'm just exploring like the country. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I'm just trying to adapt myself to the culture and explore all the giga projects. Yeah.
Myriam, do you have any advice for spa and wellness businesses that might like to incorporate healthy eating or teach their guests about nutrition? Are there some ways that you can recommend to do that?
Well, yes, that's a good question, because I think that wellness resort or spa, they are the ideal place to encourage healthy living, because nutrition works actually in harmony with all the treatments they offer. So I think that using nutrition, I mean, when you go to a spa and someone gives you like nutrition and lifestyle advice, it shows real interest in you, not only in your skin, and so for me, the nutrition narratives is crucial for spa to actually dig in, because today the problem is that they don't it's not, spa should be a holistic place, and they just treat the individual on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, you can't treat skin problems just through treatments, You have to be, I mean, spa should be able to advise on nutrition. They should be able to determine if the patient acne comes from inflammatory food like sugar or bad fats, So I would recommend spa to introduce nutrition through workshops, health and nutrition seminars. They also should train the staff in nutrition. I think it's a very, very important part, because when the employees are convinced about the topic, they will be the best advisors. And and it just shows that you actually care about your guests,
That's a great point about the staff, because beauty therapists are not trained in nutrition in any country where they get a degree. It's just not part of it. But if they're passionate about it, they'll be better able to recommend services. But also the advantage to the employer is if you teach your staff how to eat well, they'll be healthier too. So you have a double bonus there.
Exactly. At least just the basic nutrition skin connection, I've done some workshops in France for a green and clean label skincare brand. I did workshops to actually show people that they have to treat their skin problems through nutrition. And it's like a life-changing education, because they were like, just putting this cream or this oil is not sufficient, At least this basic, you should actually provide some literature or some seminars to employees who will be in the future able to advise better the guest. Yeah.
I think it's an important connection that we're talking about, because we've had such demand for spa treatments, especially since COVID. Guests are understanding that they are in charge of their own health. They are coming to the spa, and they get their massages and facials and body treatments, but that only lasts so long, to your point. You are what you eat, and yet we are not necessarily licensed or trained in food and nutrition. But it's not that complicated, right? So you can have an outside expert come in, or you can at least make sure that the food that you put out is healthy, not chocolate brownies, right?
Yes, that's a good point you make here, Lisa, because most of the spas don't have a health bar or a clean snack station, and most of them have on their shelves some processed food supplements, But it's not only about having food supplements, it's also about having spa cuisine, healthy offering. It can be like a health bar with plant-based soups or sugar-free desserts. So it's, for me, providing your clients with colorful and nutritious foods is super important, because people need some refreshments between treatments. They need to recover, after the treatment. And you can't just sell some random food supplements. You should actually really work on your menu, like your spa menu, regarding the food and beverage, to be aligned with your vision of providing.
That's easier for, say, a hotel spa that has a chef, or a restaurant or kitchen, harder for day spas, but certainly possible. This is not that difficult to put out a plate of something healthy and clean, as you say, or some fruit juices instead of soda, giving people those options to eat better, because sometimes it's a matter of choice, right? You take what's in front of you, and if it's not healthy, okay, you eat it anyway.
Yeah, and for me, that's the issue today with spa and wellness resorts. They don't provide a complete experience, because I believe that all the senses must be engaged. And when you have a flavor-rich menu or snack, it's a blessing for your taste buds, So it's really about actually treating everything from the outside and on the end. It's a holistic approach, to be honest. And today, I think nutrition is such a weak area in the hospitality industry. Really.
Well, I'm sure it's not going to stay that way for long, as you are working on it, Myriam.
Hopefully at my scale, I'll try to make some changes. But as I told you, Lisa, it's all about education. You have to educate people. Yeah. And I mean, for example, you can just replace your 5-year-old Cosmopolitan magazines, in the waiting room by maybe the latest research on nutrition. Maybe send some newsletters to your clients with like health articles and maybe some nice recipes. And another thing that could be great is to add a complementary nutrition consultation within your spa package, like just work with an external nutritionist and ask if the client is actually interested to have this maybe check up, consultation, or be followed up like in the long term with nutritionist. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really about having this holistic space centered around the patient. So for me, it's all about creating a healthy environment, but like in a complete way, like a comprehensive approach. Yeah.
Well, full circle, right? I mean, we want to treat the surface of people, but if we want them really to be well, it has to start from the inside. And as you said, the microbiome and the food we put in there.
Totally.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Myriam Giri. Please look her up on LinkedIn or follow HolyBlends on Instagram. And thank you for those great tips.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. I just actually activated my new website, which I've worked on. It's just www.myriamgiri. So my first name and last name.com.
All right, MyriamGiri.com, MYRIAMGIRI. Thanks again for joining us, Myriam.
Thanks, Lisa. Take care.